Hello everyone, welcome back to another Train Sim World 6 video. Today we're doing another Cargo Line Volume 3 Intermodal service. This time we are on the East Coast Main Line Peterborough to Doncaster route in the direct rail services Class 66. So, the one interesting thing about this service is our service has collectively been made possible by three separate developers. The route and the Class 66 itself are made by Dovetail Games. The FCA Intermodals, which are hauling behind us, were made by Skyhook Games, and then the direct rail services livery was made by Rivet Games. The direct rail services livery is part of the Engineering Express gameplay pack for the ScotRail Express route, also by Rivet Games. And yeah, the intermodal timetable gives you a dedicated intermodal the intermodal gameplay pack gives you an intermodal timetable for Peterborough to Doncaster. So yeah, we're doing a full run. We're just south of Doncaster station, and we are heading down to Peterborough. So yeah, let's get started. Let's get safeties on first. DSD, AWS, and TPWS. And I finally have a mouse wheel that works. I got a new mouse. Just a standard office mouse, but yeah, you get it. Let's also change the brake timing. Oh, that's the wrong one. That one to goods timing, and then exit. And then you on. Yeah, we don't have an operable high-speed switch in this version. We also have an RH railhead treatment train remote, which is interesting. Let's get you off. Let's get the automatic brakes off, which I think they are. Instrument lights to 100%, and we are ready to go. We've only got one stop today, Peterborough at 5:32 in 74 miles. So, release the direct brake. Yeah, it is currently just past 4 a.m. So, I would have done a service toward the middle of the day. However, that isn't really possible because of the way the services on this route are done. The cargo is mainly relegated to early morning, late night. Why am I not moving? No, come on. Okay, I was beginning to move. This is a slow starter, this one. There we go. Yeah. I do like the direct rail services livery. Also in the Engineering Express pack, you also get a reliveried version of the sea cow wagons that we already have with West Cornwall Local for ballast running, and we also get a Ocean 66 587 in her Ocean Network Express pink livery. And yeah, this guy seems to have spawned rather weirdly. But yeah, I should emphasize, viewers, that I was rather shaken today. My buddy train simulator driver made a video where he came up with a theory. Mind you, it's only a theory, but one which is, if true, it could be pretty cataclysmic for the whole Train Sim World franchise, and could cause quite a lot of havoc in the train simulation space. Let me explain. So, you probably heard that Dovetail Games is actually releasing a new game called Metro Rivals. And it's not really like a train simulator, it's more of an arcade player versus player or single player like campaign game set in the New York City subway, which is just really weird. I never really thought of a train game like as player versus player battles and tycoon gaming and things like that, but it's not a game that I will get. However, Train Simulator Driver came up with a theory which is pretty pretty not good, as I said before. So basically, he expostulated that Train Sim World 6 could be the last iteration of the Train Sim World franchise, and that next year we could get an entirely new version of a train simulator from Dovetail Games, that one that doesn't port over anything from TSW. It is a completely new, up-to-date game in its own right. The reason he's thinking that is because Dovetail has done a thing in the past where they have tried out new game engines with like so-called trial games that don't require too much development effort. For Unreal Engine 4, it was the Bassmaster Pro fishing game, whatever, that Dovetail did, and then the next year after that, we got Train Sim World, CSX Heavy Haul, as it was known at the time, with a brand new route, nothing ported over from the main Dovetail Train Simulator, which was then Train Simulator Classic, or Train Simulator Classic 2018, if you want to go by the absurd yearly release system that they were going by at the time. So, yeah, it's Train Simulator Driver. What he is thinking is that Train Sim World is Dovetail Games are doing the same with this Metro Rivals game. Since it's in Unreal Engine 5 and powered by SimUgraph, they're basically, Dovetail is using this as a test case to then eventually make a brand new version of a train simulator that would basically just leave Train Sim World in the dust, as it were. This is pretty horrifying for two reasons. Number one, I've sunk quite a lot of money into this game, and I don't want Dovetail to just leave it behind. And yeah, like, it would be really annoying if they did that, because I don't want to have to sink money into a whole new train simulator simply because Dovetail's like, yeah, we want to move to a new game engine. And I know people complain about Unreal Engine 4 and stutters and all that, but it doesn't appear as if they would be able to move TSW to an Unreal Engine 5 without basically having to rework all of the DLCs that we already have. So, and there's another reason about another reason that I'm thinking is because Dovetail is being rather quiet about their own DLCs. In every other Train Sim World that I've been around for since March 2023, so TSW 3 era-ish, Dovetail has had quite a large focus on their own DLCs, with third-party DLCs coming separately. Back in 2023, the only three third-party developers were Train Sim Germany, who hadn't really released anything of note yet apart from the Voslo G6 and the Niedertarbahn, Rivet Games, which had been around for a bit and were known for making honestly pretty mediocre content. Their reputation has improved, and I'm not trying to hate on the developers here, but yeah, their stuff, albeit except the Island Line 2022, was pretty not that good, especially stuff like West Cornwall Local and S-Bahn Central Schweiz. And the other third-party developer was Skyhook Games, who at the time had made Horseshoe Curve, the Norfolk Southern route, Cane Creek, which is a Union Pacific route, and the Midland Main Line, which at the time had just come out and was an unmitigated post-launch flop. Let's just put it by, yeah. Hello, Invisible Trees. They still haven't fixed that after 2 years of this route being out. Yeah. Yeah. So where was I going with this? This time around for Train Sim World 6, they are Train Sim World seems to be focusing a lot more on third-party releases. The only 2 Dovetail Games releases in the upcoming calendar are what are they? New York to Stamford and Stuttgart to Heilbronn. And there's a ton of the number of third-party releases far outweigh Dovetail Games releases. I'm thinking Great West Express Remaster, HST Farewell Livery Pack, the Liberec to Starapaka in the Czech Republic, Lisbon to Setúbal in Portugal, the Tadami line in Japan, where else? Birmingham to Crewe by All Aboard Studios, Preston to Crewe by Just Trains, the Class 805 by All Aboard Studios. Those and what I'm thinking is Dovetail Games are winding down development for the Train Sim World franchise in favor of this new Unreal Engine 5 Unknown Train Simulator 3, whatever they would call it. And Train Sim World is going to be thrown onto the ash heap of history. And if that does come to pass, which it might not, I'm not making any assumptions here. If that path in history does come to pass, then I am not going to get whatever new train simulator it is. I've sunk too much money into Train Sim World to leave it behind. A similar case is with, oh, by the way, look how many miles we have left to Peterborough. Anyway, so the reason I'm not going to get the new train simulator if it does come out is I've sunk too much money into this game. I think that Dovetail just abandoning it like they did with Train Sim Classic is just unwarranted, uncalled for, and quite frankly disgraceful. If that does happen, mind you, I'm not making any assumptions here. And if that does happen, then so be it. I believe third parties will continue development for Train Sim World as they have done for Train Sim Classic. For example, Just Trains. Oh my stutter and a half. Train Sim Just Trains, for instance, has continued work. I'm thinking of Caledonia Works with their British steamers. Union Workshop has continued work to a certain amount of extent. They aren't the biggest development group in the world, and so Train Sim World will live on, but only thanks to the efforts of dedicated third parties, like as has been happening with Train Sim Classic, and yet Train Sim Classic still has outstanding bugs to this day that have never been fixed. I'm thinking, for example, a lot of oh goodness, of sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. My apologies, viewers. I remember where my train of thought was going. So, if that path in history does come to pass, then I'll just stick with Train Sim World. Whatever newfangled train simulator comes about, I always think that Train Sim World will just be better because of the variety of content, and also because of the way the game is made out, and also because they're the third parties making stuff for it. Just Trains in Germany specifically come to mind. And if in the if that does come to pass, the Dovetail will probably leave a ton of outstanding bugs that will just never get fixed. Like, for example, the transparent trees issue on Peterborough to Doncaster, which we can see right now going past the windows. So, yeah, it's just made me reassess my whole position toward the Train Sim World franchise, and if in the unlikely event that Train Sim World is discarded in favor of something new and shiny, then no, I wouldn't get it. I'd continue to play Train Sim World. The developer, third parties would continue development for this game because it's by far the biggest train simulator on console, and the only other two that I can think of off the top of my head are Subway Sim 2 and then Trains with a Z Simulator World Tour, which is coming to Xbox later this month. So if that does happen, then there are signs that this is going to happen. So just giving you fair warning. But if it doesn't happen, then I stand corrected. And whatever happens, I'll stand by this game, because despite its flaws, despite the myriad of issues that this game has and had, despite the yearly release debacles that happen every year, I still think that this game is by far the best train simulator out there. And I know some people are going to take umbrage with that and say that Train Simulator is the best, or SimRail is the best, blah 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 blah, but I'm going to stand by my position, and I even go so far as to stake my reputation on it, that this game is the best train simulator ever made, despite its myriad of flaws. And yeah, it's just sad that if that does happen, that this game, this rough diamond, as it were, the uncut diamond is the analogy I was looking for. That, yeah, and plus, in the meantime, before that, if that Unreal Engine 5 releases, in the meantime, before it releases, we still have a ton of stuff to look forward to that I'm really excited about. For example, the Czech route, Liberec to Starapaka, Lisbon to Setúbal, somewhat, because I'm not familiar with the route in real life, and we haven't gotten a lot of images of it as yet. Then the Tadami line, which is by far the route by far I am most excited for, because I think that is going to be an absolute gem of a route, and I think Union Workshop have pulled out all the stops. Union Workshop have made some great stuff for Train Sim Classic. I have all of their Japanese stuff apart from the Tadami line in Train Simulator Classic, and they have some great routes. For example, the Tokyo Commuter, Keihin, Tohoku, and Utsunomiya lines add-on, the Tohoku high-speed and main line add-on. What others? Yeah, there's Story of Forest Rail, which, despite being well over 10 years old at this point, is still an absolute little gem of a route with some great scenery. And then the Hidaka main line, which is probably my least favorite of the three, but still pretty decent. And yeah. Sorry about that. And yeah, whatever happens, I think I'll still play this game, and I'll enjoy it, and my viewers will enjoy it. And there's already a YouTuber who does that to a certain extent. And I'm thinking specifically of DC4260 Productions, otherwise formerly known as the train spotter from Tauranga, who mainly does reviews for Train Sim Classic add-ons. Like he seems to review lots of British steamers by Caledonia Works, Victory Works, Bossbang Games, developers like that. But also reviews Train Sim World content, and reviews it very well too. I recommend you go check him out if you haven't already. And he manages to balance Train Simulator Classic and Train Sim World quite well, and while still keeping a focus on the older game, despite Train Simulator Classic being much older than Train Sim World and not getting development anymore. Here we go, coming through Retford with 60 miles to go. I don't think there are any passenger services at this time of the morning. Oh, oops. Yeah, so, yeah, I think I've made my point, and whatever happens, we'll power through. That's what being on YouTube is all about. Whatever the flaws, if you're not feeling up to it, you don't make content. If you make content, and you have a lot of fun doing it, and you foster a good community, and whatever happens, you still try and put a cheery face on it and try to find hope in life. And yeah, and that's what I'm going to be doing with this game. Despite the trials and tribulations of TSW up to this point, and the myriad of issues this game's had, the blatant cash grabs, like the livery packs, like some livery packs that I could mention, and enough ranting from me. Well, it wasn't really a rant, it was just me speaking my candid thoughts, as I usually do. I'm not one of those people who just gives the developers a free pass no matter what. Like a few of the ambassadors that I could name, or some of the fanboys in this franchise that just buy all of all of Train Sim World's content, no matter how good it is, at full price, and yeah. And I'm one of those people who's critical of this game, but I'm constructively critical. I don't just criticize stuff. I suggest ways to make it better rather than just criticizing it, which some people accuse, for example, DC4260 Productions of doing. But I don't do that because I'm not one of those people who's just overly negative. Constructive criticism means that I can enjoy stuff, but I can also suggest stuff to the developers if they ever watch these videos, which I doubt they do. But yeah, and it's absolutely gorgeous dawn going on right now. And this is one reason I love this game. Like, look at that lighting. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And you don't really get that with any other train simulator. You might get that with SimRail, but you don't really get that with any other train simulator. And also the depth and variety of the content is pretty much unparalleled, except for Train Sim Classic. And also Train Sim World is pretty cosmopolitan. You can play it on Steam Deck. It is compatible with Steam Deck apparently. You can play it on Epic Games, despite the issues Epic has had. You can play it on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, Xbox One. I think the only major platform which this game isn't on is a Nintendo Switch or Switch 2. And to be quite honest, I don't see how this game would ever be compatible with a Switch or a Switch 2, because I think it's just beyond the processing power capabilities of a Switch or Switch 2. And like for example, like I don't think, like, this run today isn't perfect. Like, Peterborough to Doncaster, like, why it's a weird route concept in the first place. Why couldn't you do, like, for example, you could have, Dovetail could have done King's Cross to Peterborough, and then given us, far more stuff to do. And that would have given us far more stuff to do. For example, Great Northern services with the Class 717 and Class 387. Thameslink services with the Class 700 off of South Eastern High Speed, which would give us an extended time to run the Class 700 under the wires. Then they could have added the Grand Central stuff, like the Class 220 and Class 180, both of which are nowhere to be seen in TSW. Despite the fact that they're both integral parts of the rail scene on this line in real life. Then also we could have had Lumo Class 803s, Hull Trains Class 802s, and LNER Class 800s. And that would have all been great. That would have given us far more stuff to do than pottering up Peterborough to Doncaster, which is probably the most boring section on the East Coast Main Line. And I say that having ridden on this line in real life in both a Grand Central Class 180 and a LNER Class 800. So mind you, I think this route is decent. It's just lacking rolling stock variety. I wish it had rolling stock variety, but we didn't get that. All we have is the Class 801 and Class 66 to potter up and down with. And then there are some East Midlands train services with the Class 158 if you have Midland Main Line, but other than that, there's not too much rolling stock variety on this route. And there's also the untapped potential of the East Coast Main Line. For example, the West Coast Main Line, we now have no less than 4 routes either upcoming or already in existence. We have London Euston to Milton Keynes by Dovetail Games, Birmingham New Street to Crewe, which is coming in less than a week by All Aboard Studios. Then we have Preston to Crewe by Just Trains, set in 1986, also upcoming. And then we have Preston to Carlisle, also set in 1986, also by Just Trains. And Preston to Carlisle is my favourite route in the game, despite the fact that for some reason there's a bug in TSW6 that prevents the Class 86 from showing up in timetable mode. And there's also something else I was trying to think of. There was there's something else. Yeah. Oh right. There's simply the unmatched we have there's a lot of potential for East Coast Mainline routes that we simply don't have. The only East Coast Mainline route that we have in TSW at the time of recording is this one, which is Peterborough to Doncaster, which I'm not really a fan of because it's literally the most boring section of the East Coast Main Line that you could get your hands on in real life, and there's a little to no rolling stock variety. So where was I? Oh yes, like think we already, but to be fair, we do have another section of the East Coast Main Line in TSW that it isn't marketed as such. It's part of the 5 Circle line by Rivet Games and runs from Edinburgh Waverley up to Markich via Kirkcaldy, which is it's pretty decent. Rivet did a decent job on it, and I cannot wait to see the Skyhook Games sprint a timetable for that route, which is probably coming out in the next couple of weeks, which I'm pretty excited about. But yeah, think of the possibilities that a East Coast Main Line Newcastle to Edinburgh Waverley route would be like. That'd be a seriously cool route, because we could go from we'd have the stunning scenery overlooking the North Sea for a large section of the route. We could Dovetail could recycle the Class 801, finally give us the LNER Class 800 that we've been begging for. Then also the LNER Class 91 with Mark IVs and a Mark IV driving van trailer. Then also a... what else? Also I'm trying to remember what else we could have with it. Then also we could have Trans-Pennine Express stock, Northern Rail stock, ScotRail stock. Yeah, it would be quite good. And the fact that we don't have that in TSW yet is really annoying. And the fact that the ECML has such a large amount of untapped potential is just insane. Anyway, enough of me spouting off. This route is nice. Like, the scenery is decent, the station modelling is great, the Class 801 is decent, but unless you have a sound mod by ECML165, it has the incorrect sounds, mainly borrowed off of a Class 377 Electrostar of all things. Then, what else? There's some other stuff that I can think of that I'm, yeah, the 66 that was recycled again with this route is somewhat decent. It's like in a weathered EWS livery, and I don't really take it out that much because I prefer the DB cargo version. And and also what really hampers this route is the lack of a Class 90 for freight stuff. Though, to be fair, Alan Thompson's sim is currently working on a Class 90, presumably a DB cargo livery, and that may layer onto this route. All we know so far is it's going to layer onto West Coast Main Line South, but other than that, we just don't. Other than that, we don't really know anything about where it'll layer in. But yeah, I'm just, yeah. If Train Sim World, like active Train Sim World development by Dovetail Games, is really going to come to an end, like if it's really going to end and Dovetail's just going to drop it in favor of something new, shiny and spangly with new features, then yeah, then I don't really know what's going to happen. Then I'll continue to play TSW. I won't get the new game, and I'll still spend time with you and the viewers who are watching this, if there is anyone watching this, and I'll have, and hopefully people will still make mods for this game. There's quite a few people making freeware mods. The two major mods which I can think of off the top of my head are the Amtrak P42 DC by Spacey Cat. Think of the layering potential for an Amtrak diesel locomotive. That's an insane amount of layerability. for yeah. I'll do a flight path shot. Why not? Because there's so many American routes that Amtrak Diesel would layer in on. The second mod that I'm also thinking of is a route, and which would be by far the longest American route ever put in the game. The route in question would be, I can't remember the name of the modder, and I apologize for that, but coming up on Newark Northgate, by the way, the route would be Houston, Texas to Lake Charles, Missouri, and that would be an entirely new region for TSW. And the route in question would also be massive, well over 100 miles long. With both you and I don't think there would be any new rolling stock included with the route. I think the stock would be BNSF and Union Pacific stock that we already have. Here's Newark Northgate. Station I've stopped at in real life. Wonder if there are any... Oh, that's why I was getting laggy. That's because I hadn't zoomed the map out. Leeds at 7:19. Peterborough at 6:37. London King's Cross at 5:30. So there isn't another train to Newark Northgate. At least it stops at Newark Northgate in an hour and a half. No, an hour. My apologies. But, yeah. That video by Train Simulator Driver has thrown me a bit for a loop, and I'm feeling a bit introspective about this game and how far it's come. Like, there have been noticeable strides made since Train Sim World 3 when I joined the game. Like, Train Sim World 3, we got the new lighting engine, despite the stutters that it causes, and also, dynamic weather, and then which I don't really use because I prefer just setting custom weather, but then also we got Traceable 4, we got, what was it, dynamic suspension, I think? Can't remember. I don't think it was just dynamic suspension, but I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. So you're gonna have to forgive me, viewers. Then Traceable 5, we got new track shadows, which were backported onto a bunch of older routes. Then God mode, which is decent, but still needs a full overhaul in order to feel properly like an God mode. But, yeah. Yeah, but... And then in Train Sim World 6, we've got train faults, train announcements, platform announcements, cabin ambience, and... yeah, I think that's it, but... Oh, never mind. Yeah, I still there's a lot of work to be done. Like, a lot of TSW's features still feel unfinished. Like, look at the creators, like, look at the livery designer, for instance. That still is an absolute pain to navigate. And I mean, some people have made absolutely staggeringly good liveries. But also, there's some like, the liveries themselves, I've actually turned off them substituting into the game because, quite frankly, they're incredibly unoptimized and lag my game, like, really like my game. So yeah, I still like. Yeah, going back to I don't really trust Dovetail to make good third-party not third-party. What am I saying? Like good core features for TSW. Like dynamic weather still has 2 choppy animations. Dynamic suspension sometimes feels as though it's about to bounce the train off the track. Case in point, BR193 Vectron on Mine Spessart Barn. Then TSW5 track shadows not really appearing at points. And guard mode still being an unfinished, buggy, absolute mess. Like, for example, I think I would play conductor mode a lot more if A, you have something more to do, a bit more to do between stops, and B, you get more tickets to actually do, because you either get a whole flood of tickets, like for example on the West Somerset Railway, the railway, you might get how many? Like you might get 30 tickets to check between stops, while on Preston to Carlisle you'll get none. Then in TSW6, train faults occur way too often, and track speed restrictions sometimes appear the wrong way round. Announcements sometimes break, and then what else? And passenger ambience isn't accompanied by passengers actually, NPC passengers moving their mouths. Yeah, but yeah, despite all those flaws, I still love TSW, as I've said, and I believe the future of this game is third-party add-ons, because the third-party developers have shown a capability to absolutely blow Dovetail games out of the water when it comes to the quality. When it comes to on the quality front, I'm thinking, for example, the stuff by Trains in Germany, like the Vossler G6, Niddertalbahn, BR218, Mittenwaldbahn, BR194 pack for Link Rheinstrecke, and the upcoming BR420 for Just Trains. I'm thinking of Blackpool branches, Preston to Carlisle, the Class 86 pack, the upcoming Preston to Crewe route, and the upcoming Transport for Wales Pacer add-on for Cardiff City Network. Mind you, I'm not deprecating Dovetail's add-ons. I think that Dovetail has shown the capability to make some really dang good routes. I'm thinking of the remastered Cathcart Circle line with the Class 380, Spoorlijn Zwolle to Groningen I should have said by Dovetail Games, obviously. Then Cardiff City Network, Southeast High Speed Extended, Boston Sprinter, Compass, things like that. And I still think the future of this game lies in the third parties, and yeah, I think that Skyhook Games with Cargo Line Volume 5 Nuclear, that looks awesome. Vector Simulations with their Czech route, that looks awesome. Virtua Via 360 with their Portuguese route, that looks pretty good. Tadami Line by Union Workshop, that's already my favourite route in the game, and that isn't even coming out until spring next year. Dovetail's CEO Gemma Brown actually confirmed that it's coming out in spring of 2026. Yeah, so despite also another issue I have with this game is that new features introduced into each core iteration TSW aren't backported onto older routes. Like for example, train fault announcements and stuff weren't backported even onto like newer routes like West Coast Main Line South that are only a year old and yet already outdated by modern standards. Yeah, but enough of me ranting. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Like, seriously, let me know what you think down in the comments section below, because I would love to hear your thoughts on where the TSW franchise is going and what you think could happen. Where are we? Just approaching Grantham, I think? Yeah, so we're actually making incredibly good time. And we haven't seen a single train going in the other direction. This line is totally quiet. I think out of the add-ons I'm most looking forward to are the Tadami line, Liberec to Starapaka, which is the Czech route, Preston Crew by Just Trains, and then for locomotives, the Alan Thompson Sim Class 90, which will be my first Alan Thompson Sim product, because I don't think I'll ever get Manchester Airport Commuter. Then, excuse me. Then the Cargo Line Volume 5 Nuclear by Skyhook Games, Transport for Wales Pacer by Just Trains, maybe the Expert BR145 by Trains in Germany, maybe, if ever, because I can't see. I'm looking forward to the future with this game. I think there's so much potential with this game, and yeah, we really need to start putting the world in Trains of the World, which Union Workshop Vector Simulations and Virtua via 360 are doing pretty well, it seems, with their Japanese, Portuguese, and Czech routes. And I think, yeah, I'm excited for the future with this game, and yeah, I'm really excited to see what the future will bring. Yeah, I do like the Class 66. I do think it is far more overused than it should be, but I do think that it is a genuinely good locomotive, especially the versions that are not from Great Western Express and East Coastway, because they have the Armstrong Powerhouse enhancement pack sounds and like better suspension. A lot of them have the better suspension physics, things like that. So it's a good locomotive, it's just far too overused. And I'm glad Dovetail didn't recycle it for the Riviera line, because that'd be very annoying. Coming up on Grantham with 30 miles to go. We are making extraordinarily good time. Passing through Grantham. I've actually, the East Coast Main Line Peterborough to Doncaster, fun fact that you didn't know, is actually the only route in the entire game which I've gotten literally all of the collectibles on. I was able to find all of the collectibles. A lot of routes I have most of the collectibles, but the other ones I just wasn't able to find, so yeah. 28 miles to go, so yeah, coming up, so we've got a hill and then a tunnel and then Stoke Bank down to Peterborough, which is incidentally where Mallard achieved its infamous 126-mile-an-hour speed record back in 1938. Now that would be a good loco add-on for this route. Number 44, LNER A4 Pacific, an LNER A4 Pacific class pack with all the class members and prototypical conditions as they would have run in their working days, and also in preservation, and also Mallard in her preservation era state, and also all the liveries associated with, yeah. So basically something to rival the Caledonia Works A4 Pacific class, but for Trains and World instead of Trains and Classic. I really hope Caledonia Works becomes a third-party developer for TSW, because I've seen all of their loco packs for Trains and Classic, and they have a ton. Like, I mean, they have a lot. Like, they've got everything from London to Brighton and South Coast Railway locomotives from the 1880s, all the way to the aforementioned A4 Pacifics, to GWR King classes. Yeah, the amount of stuff that Caledonia Works put into the pack has put into their DLCs is absolutely nuts. But if we were going to get an LNER A4 Pacific class pack in TSW, it would have to be with revised steam physics, because the steam physics we have right now in TSW, though manageable, are completely just borked. Like, you lose steam way too quickly. And I say that as a person who avidly plays with the Flying Scotsman. Oh, we do have a flashing double yellow. We're not getting shunted off into a crossing loop, because it would say that on this screen here. Oh, by the way, the service we're doing is 4 Lima 83 leads to Felixstowe North, if you were wondering. Yeah. I do like the cargo line packs by Skyhook Games, changing the subject, because they are just a genuinely good pack, and they are genuinely good packs. But the one I can recommend the most is Cargo Line Volume 4 Military, because that has an entirely new wagon, entirely new method of gameplay, i.e. the KWA War wagon with military services on Great Western Express and Preston to Carlisle. And then Cargo Line Volume 3 is second place for me, because I do like intermodal runs, and I think they're genuinely a lot of fun. And with Cargo Lines 1 and 2, Tankers and Aggregates, coming in second place, because because they're just rehashes of wagons we already had in the game, with the tankers being rehashed TEAs, and the oh, hello, another direct rail services intermodal service. Nice. What service is that, by the way? Hang on. It is Felixstowe North to Tinsley Intermodal, 4 Echo 58. Nice. So, yeah, we are getting shunted onto the slow line here for the run down Stoke Bank. Yeah, with 23 miles to go to Peterborough and 40 minutes to get there. So, I imagine if we got to Peterborough like 20 minutes early. That'd be insane. Anyway, Cargo Lines, the Cargo Line Volume 2 is recached HKA aggregates wagons off of Great Western Express. I don't have Cargo Lines 1 and 2, I do have 3 and 4. I will be getting 1 and 2, when they go on a decent sale, like 70 to 80% off, I think is worth it. And I think both layer on Great Western Express and Midland Main Line, so both of which are routes I do play, and with the remaster for Great Western Express coming up, I think both packs are going to be pretty essential for like AI stuff. Yeah, so now we're heading down Stoke Bank, and it's 0.6% grade. In EM you can handle this pretty, like, without even breaking a sweat, but since we're in a diesel locomotive, we will have to be careful. That flashing green signal, fun fact with this line, the flashing green signal was supposed to be for trains to be clear up to 140 miles an hour. Yes, trains on the East Coast Main Line were going to be able to be cleared up to 140 miles an hour, so they implemented the flashing green signal to tell drivers you're clear from 125 to 140. However, because of the way, yeah, like, you can barely see that signal is green flashing, and it would be even less visible at higher speeds. So that system was canned. However, the 140 mile an hour clearance system is still not enforced, but is still there, is still implemented on signals, despite the fact that you can't go 140 miles an hour. Which is a pretty neat little fact that not too many people know about. So yeah, we've just got this section left to go. How long have I been recording for? Less than an hour. And every time I check that, I have to make sure that, yeah, I have to pause the game to make sure all of my key stuff works, because for some reason my recording software likes to mess around with that. Excuse me. 20 miles to go with 36 minutes to get there. And there are a decent amount of British containers that you can get in TSW. There's, why has it gotten foggy? Did I turn on dynamic weather by accident? I hope not. Anyway, let me see. So, where was I? Yes. You actually get a decent selection of British, container wagons in TSW. You get the you get the FKAs, which are the default intermodal wagon that Dovetail made for Great Western Express all of those years ago. Then you get the FCAs, thanks to Cargo Line Volume 3, which are the ones we're hauling behind us right now. Then you also get the FGAs and FFAs, which are part of Preston to Carlisle and are depicted in 1980s British rail condition. I do like running the Class 87 with container wagons from time to time. There's just not too many of them, which you can do in daylight. My goodness, we do have the potential to arrive really early into Peterborough. We've had a clear signal the whole way and have only seen one other train going in the opposite direction, which was another intermodal service and another direct rail service as well. Oh, that was a big stutter. Wow. Yeah. Like, yeah. I think the pack that I most want to see for this route is the what is it? An LNER Class 91 pack, because those things are cool. The Class 91s are relics of the British Railways era. They started development in the British Railways era, but came into service, and then just before privatisation in '94. And yeah, they've been running around ever since, and they're pretty dang cool locomotives, which you don't see too many of nowadays because they're all being replaced by IETs or Class 745s and 755s or 720s on the Great Eastern Main Line to like Stansted Airport, Ipswich, where else? Or Norwich or places like that. So they are a rarity, and if we could get like a Class 91 service, a Class 91 in TSW with accompanying Mark IVs and a driving van trailer in the LNER like intercity livery, meaning like it's like the British Rail intercity Swallow livery, just with LNER branding, which just looks stylish, and running alongside the pretty dang sorry, I can't English, the admittedly the pretty stylish Azumas. Like, come on, the 91 has to be one of the most requested trains in the game. We got the 220, we got the, thanks to the Riviera line, we're getting the Class 90 thanks to Alan Thompson's sim. So why can't we get the Class 91 in this game? It's pretty much the same platform as the Class 91. I wouldn't be surprised if Alan Thompson sim does have a Class 91 like idea, but they did say they are wanting to do multiple Class 90 DLC. So this first one is going to be cargo oriented. Maybe they're going making it a Great Eastern mainline route out of London Fenchurch Street to Ipswich. That'd be pretty. It's set in like, I don't know, like the 90s or early 2000s. That'd be pretty cool. Especially since we could dress the Class 86 up in Network Southeast livery and run it on that route as well. Not Network Southeast livery, like, you know what I mean. Whatever livery they were using around at the time. My apologies. 13 miles to go with 31 minutes to get there. I think if we don't have any adverse signals, we should get there in plenty of time. Shush. Everything's going to be alright, Mr. DSD. I'm going to get so many points for doing this run, man. All in all, I'm looking forward to the future in this game. I've said that before. I've already said that in this video, but yeah, I'm excited as to see where Trains of the World is going to end up. But yeah, I just wish Dovetail would fix the myriad of problems that in this game that they even refuse to acknowledge a lot of the time. Absolutely flying toward Peterborough. I do love doing morning or evening services. I just don't do them often enough. I wish I did them more often, if I'm being honest. I'm going to get so many points for this run due to the fact I'm using all of the safety systems and I'm travelling a really long way. This is the second longest British route in the game after Preston to Carlisle, clocking in at a pretty decent 80 miles. Preston to Carlisle comes third in route length at just over 100 miles in total, while the Kassel to Würzburg comes in second at about 105 miles, I want to say. And then the longest route by far in the game, especially if you count all the Braunsteins, is the new Bahnstrecke Leipzig to Dresden, which is like 100 miles long and then has like 15 miles of branch lines as well, so that's like 120 miles in total. Just Whoa, okay, abrupt lighting change. What was that? I'm going to have to go back and look at that because that was really abrupt. It's nice to drive something other than a Class 801 on this route. I might have to dig out the East Midlands Trains VP185 Class 43 HST and take it for a spin, because it does have a couple of surfaces on this line as like spare passenger moves, and I do like me an HST. Back in the day, when I first learned of HST's existence, I thought they were, no joke, I genuinely thought they were the ugliest trains on the planet, and I really disliked them. And I know a lot of train fans are immediately leaping down to the comment section accusing my past self of heresy, but yeah, I was young, I didn't really realize how genuinely fun the HSTs were, and I didn't realize how genuinely good they can look. Like, the East Midlands Trains livery on the VP185 HST on the main line looks pretty dang good. But I think my favorite HSTs are probably the GWR Castle sets that run on the Cornish main line. I just think they're cool. Like, the fact that they're still running in service today is pretty impressive considering they're half a century old. And also, I'm pretty gutted that GWR is retiring all of their HSTs by December of this year. So if you wanted to go see them in real life running around before they get retired and scrapped or put in a museum, now is your chance. And I think that though, if you were going to ask me what my favorite HST power cars were, I'd say first off 43002 Sir Kenneth Grange, which was in GWR service until not too long ago, and is in a celebratory Intercity 125 livery, and is currently preserved at the National Railway Museum, where I've seen him in real life, and that's my favourite HST in the whole wide world. And I should also note that we are getting both of my favourite HSTs in Trains of the World, thanks to the Grump Dog Games HST Farewell Pack, not too long from now. Then there's the Intercity Swallowed livery GWR HST. Can't remember the exact number, but it's called Great Western, I think. You're gonna have to let me know down in the comment section if I'm wrong or not. But yeah, I think that's another superb livery. I love the Intercity Swallow stuff, and that'll actually be the first official Intercity Swallowed livery train in the entirety of TSW, because we either have stuff mainly from the BR Blue era, or BR Preservation era, or BR Intercity era, but which was before Intercity Swallow without all the fancy lettering that they had. So yeah, like, imagine running a GWR train with Sir Kenneth Grange coupled at one end and Great Western coupled at the other end. Like, that'd be the HST, that'd just be like maximum HST goodness, that would. And mind you, I think that I like the Hitachi IETs that are replacing a lot of the HSTs, but I just think that some HSTs are just irreplaceable. Like, no IET is ever going to outshine an HST. And then on top of all that, I think that yeah, will be one more place in the world where you'll be able to see HSTs before they finally leave. I kid you not, I think it's Kenya. My bad, Morocco. HSTs were exported to Morocco to act as metro trains in Casablanca, I think it was. I'll have to go back and re-familiarize myself with that, so if I get that wrong, I do apologize, but yeah, that's seriously cool. And then there's also HSTs still running around in the Inter7 City livery, operating for ScotRail up in Scotland, like doing the Edinburgh to Dundee, Inverness, Aberdeen sort of runs, which is a bit of a shame that only ScotRail is the only operator still operating them. And I don't really know why ScotRail hasn't purchased new trains yet, but they're probably sinking all their funds into getting a lot of their network electrified, which, to be fair, they are doing quite well. I just wish we could get the entire... one thing I hope about with TSW, changing the subject again, sorry, I'm hopping onto a new subject pretty quickly here, but I hope we get the entire West Coast Main Line in TSW. Once Birmingham to Crewe and Crewe to Preston come out, the only two missing sections will be Milton Keynes to Birmingham. Sorry, three sections. Milton Keynes to Birmingham New Street, the West Coast Main Line Trent Valley line, like via Lichfield Trent Valley, then 22 minutes to go and 2.5 miles to go. Then we'd also need Carlisle to Glasgow Central and Edinburgh Waverley, and then the West Coast Main Line would be complete. We could run on every single section of it, and I think that'd be pretty awesome. That'd be really, really cool. 70 limit coming up, so I'll just cancel the throttle. Let the train goes back. We do have a red signal coming up. Let's get some automatic brake going. Coming into North Peterborough Yard, which in real life is a Great British Rail Freight Yard, or GBRF Yard, but that is represented in TSW due to the fact that we don't have any GBRF stock in TSW due to licensing issues. So yeah, it's mainly used as an intermodal yard in game, which I think it is in used as real life. So yeah, we've got a single yellow with a mile to go. Hopefully there isn't anyone in our platform. These automatic brakes are so annoying and take so long to release, which is why I don't use them too much, because they're an absolute pain in the rear end. Come on. Stop dying on me. We have more than enough time to get to Peterborough, but I just don't. Come on, don't stop. Brake. Overcharge. Oh, oops. Let's just wait for the train to get moving again. So what's causing the holdup? Is there anything in the way? No, there isn't. Got this guy heading to Horsham. Oh, so that's the Thameslink service. Yeah, Peterborough to Horsham would be a Thameslink. Yeah. Leeds at 7:52. Yeah, there's supposed to be nothing at our platform, and yet we've got a red signal, so I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it's just one of those signals where you move closer to it, it turns green. I don't know. We'll find out. We do have a 15 limit coming into Peterborough. Let's see what stuff is around it. This time of morning, we got an EWS66. Got some, what are these wagons? I can't remember what they're called. JNAs off of Southeastern High Speed, because I don't have East Coastway. We've also got this guy over here. We've got another DRS 66 with some MFAs, and a DB 66 with some more intermodal stuff, which are FCAs. And we've got some Thameslink 700s over here for Southeastern High Speed. No FLUs, I'm afraid. Yeah, there's the signal. Apply direct brake. There we go. 0.6 miles to go, and I can't continue because there's a red signal in the way. I'll release the automatic brake. Okay, what seems to be the holdup? We're 0.6 miles away. We're so close and yet so far away. I do like the 700s. They're a great unit. Just pity about the seating. Alright, what seems to be the trouble? No. Those 66s are always parked there. So we've got some EWSs, DB, unweathered EWS, DRS. Decent variety, I must say. And yet, there's nothing... Okay. There we go. Signal changed. I didn't notice that for a bit. My apologies, viewers. Let's wait for the brakes to release. Give it notch 2, and we're off. At least we're on a downward slope. I'll give it some sand. Oh, sorry about that. We are getting it here extremely early, which is very nice. We could get to Peterborough pretty quickly, even if we go 15 miles an hour, so... Alright, let's just keep it in notch 4 for now. Our yellow signal, 900 yards to go. Let's kick it back to notch 2. Hopefully we aren't holding up anyone else. Just check to see that I'm not holding up anyone else, which we are not, thankfully. Yeah, we are actually able to cover this remarkably quickly, considering we are in a 66 and we're limited to 75 miles an hour. It's not like Preston to Carlisle where you have to contend with the whole overshap malarkey, which is really annoying, to say the least. But it does present more of a challenge, especially with the 87 being a tap changer locomotive rather than, rather than something else. So yeah, a pretty satisfying run with the 66, I must admit. Like, not too difficult by normal even by TSW standards, but a satisfying run nonetheless, because this is probably the fastest and the longest period of time in the game where you can keep the 66 at its top speed of 75 miles an hour. Shush, I'm doing fine. Yeah, I've got a red signal, which I'm understandable about, but it's only, I think we're stopping in the middle of the platform, so it doesn't really matter. Any other trains lurking about? There's 700 over there. Oh, wrong button. That's the button. Keep the direct brake on. I'll try and do an abrupt stop because of the way the automatic brakes work. Let's hit apply. Oh, I overjudged it. Oh, shush. And there we go. Wait, are you I've got to wait? Are you mad? For heaven's sake. And I haven't even got any collectibles to do because I did them already. Anyway, I will see you at 5:32 for the scoring. Alright, everybody, so we have a minute to go for some come on. No. Stop. Shush. There we go. Yeah. So I've basically shut down the train engine and put the parking brake on since we don't need to have it on. We've got 30 seconds until the service finishes. You'll probably also want to see Class 700 during the wait. Can't remember where from. So yeah, nearly finished with the service. 10 seconds to go. Oh, are you serious? That's funny. Yeah. For some reason my engine is still emitting fumes despite the train not running? Look at that. Huh. Yeah. Why is it saying wait for a moment? Anyway. Yeah, it's been a good run. Having the FCAs are great train. Oh, there we go. There we go, platinum medal. Oh my goodness! How many points was that? Let me have a look. How many points was that? 20,297. That is impressive. So yeah, that'll be all for this video, everybody. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another one of these videos. And I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.